I think I'm going to use this setup with the recordings as a sort of video journal because I have had several thoughts come through since my session this past Monday. It's been now today's Friday, so it's been 4 days, and things continue changing. Stuff keeps coming up. And before I move more into some of the information, some of the additional information I've received that I haven't discussed at all yet, and where's my kitty? I wanted to just talk about some of the impressions that I have received and some other people that I've spoken with have received that I think are worthwhile. It's worthwhile thinking about. One of them is that when I asked about how many, and what I mean when I asked is that I'd given my list of questions to the practitioner, this lady, and she was asking while I was under hypnosis. And but it was my question, so that's why I say why I asked. So, well, she asked, to be more precise, how many light workers there are. I really was asking this question, or I prepared this question because I was just curious to see with the awakening how many light workers were incarnated here, or how many people have discovered that they are light workers, even though they had no inkling of that before. And so I was expecting this number to be, I'm not saying millions necessarily, but I would imagine in the hundreds of thousands number. And they said, but they came back. And they said, and I may have mentioned this already, they came back and they said 12,000. And this was me, my ego mind, while I get that answer, I corrected them. It's like I was negotiating with them. It just took me so by surprise, this 12,000 numbers. It was almost a number, it was almost like I was disheartened by it. 12,000, I'm like, what are we going to do with only 12,000? Not only, but from the feeling that I got, there must be more than 12,000. And so they said, they repeated 12,000. And so the follow-up question from the practitioner was, why 12,000? And they said, that's all that's needed. Now, I have a feeling that there are more light workers than 12,000. I wanted to clarify this part because I believe what they're saying is that it's only 12,000 light workers that are needed to wrap up this reality, this 3D on this particular planet, and this 3D reality on Earth. And I think the 12,000, well, this is actually the feeling that I got from while I was under, is that the 12,000 are staying till the end. They're the ones who, that's what I mean by they're wrapping up. They're the ones who are staying till the end. So there was a bit of a timeline they've given me. And come on, baby. And the timeline is that at some point, and they gave an actual timeline in human years. There will be people who leave. There will be people who pass, and I think we can all expect that. People pass all the time, but they definitely said there will be a great number of people who pass, and there will be people who will go off, maybe ships. To other planets, and there will be people who go back to the 25th dimension. And in this case, somebody's going to be left until the end, who's going to go on to New Earth. For sure, these 12,000 are going to New Earth. It doesn't mean they are the only ones that are going to go to New Earth. I think I already mentioned in the previous video that millions will be on New Earth. But initially, it might be 12,000 people who go to New Earth to set up the new rules. This is the feeling that I received, is that, and now there might be, people reincarnated, the other team that go in as animals or whatever it is. I really haven't asked about the details in that specific amount of precision. But I do know, I apologize, that the people that go to New Earth are going to set up the rules. So there will be rules like there will be no money, there will be no violence, And there are other things that I will eventually record in due time when I go into more details of what they told me. But the idea is that these 12,000, this is what is important, is that these 12,000 are just doing a job. They are like everybody else. No one on this planet is any more important than anyone else, including animals. No one. And I know this is our favorite thing to think. A lot of us think we're better than animals, for example. We are not. Everybody is equal. This might be very hard for someone watching this to comprehend, but we are equal. Every aspect of the 25th dimension, which is essence and which is all of us, we are all equal. That also means that everything we are taught in this dimension about competition, about being better than other people, if you're equal in every possible way from an economic standpoint, education standpoint, etc., then you're like, oh, but I'm prettier than you, or I'm better because I'm more beautiful or smart, whatever that might be. This was all introduced as from one of the teams. I don't know if it was, the light, the dark, whatever it was introduced as, I'm assuming the dark just because it's so based on separation. But again, remember, we wanted to play the separation game. So it could have even been the light, say, hey, let's try this. Maybe they didn't expect it to get taken to such an extreme of dystopia where there's complete separation among us, which is absurd because we're all the same. But anyway, so they made it very clear that these 12,000 people are not special. Everyone here has the same role. And so the way that I think about it, that I like to think about, is that while they said very clearly this is a game, and they use this terminology over and over, I like to think of it as if this is a play and on a stage. And the difference with the plays we're used to, where even there is a hierarchy, because you have, the main actor, the main actress who get most time, in view of the public, and therefore they're more important. They get paid more. They're prettier. They're smarter. They're faster. Who knows, right? This is equally. We all get 24 hours in a day. In other words, we all have the exact same stage time. So we truly are equal. And that's one thing about the 25th dimension. It was very obvious to me. They do not sugarcoat things. They're very clear cut. Even the way that they speak is very concise and very much to the point. Their truth. Okay. If there's any truth, that is just one truth. That's what it is. They're saying it. The thing is, though, that this might come across as, they're being too not compassionate, because they don't talk about, for example, how we humans experience reality from our level, which is very, very real to us. Whether it's a game or not, it can be very painful. And I know, for one, life can be painful. And I'm sure, many of you can relate. All you have to do is look around, especially during these times. They are not incompassionate, though. While they don't think about what we go through, and they don't think about it for the simple reason that it's so far away from the level that we are at as essence, doesn't mean that they are heartless or that they don't care. I didn't go into that. It wasn't about that. It was more like just telling us what the essence of things is, because again, they're essence and they see all. So even though I apologize, it's a very complex, because I'm trying to think about how they said things and how, it really translates to our reality. And the bottom line is this: even though they say things and they don't seem to account for humanness, they are not mean about things. They do tell the truth. And so in that truth, we can find some relief, because we are equal, we are safe. And really, when we relax into that notion, there's really nothing to worry about. Now, of course, we have to deal with this reality right now, and which, sees a lot of darkness coming to the surface. I see it. And I'm very well aware of it. That's why a lot of people speak about awakening. They talk about that too. And I will go into that. I don't want to throw too much information into this one particular recording. But the bottom line is that there is serious comfort in knowing that we are all equal, because of most of what we experience, which causes so much pain on this planet, is the fact that we think that we are separate because we must be. We're always comparing ourselves to other people, and we always come up lacking. A lot of us suffer from lack of self-worth, guilt. Somehow we don't feel as good as other people. We judge people from the outside, and we don't realize even in that we are all the same. And again, this dimension was brought in to separate us and hold us down, as a strategy, as a game strategy, was to test out this way of being, which clearly we don't like, and we're not going to do this again. We're not going to repeat this again, and we are very close to moving on from this reality. So I just hope we all hang in there, because I know how hard it is. So I think I'm going to stop this recording here, because it's already a lot, but I might do another one to talk about a couple of other things that have come to mind in regards to this session. And then maybe in the future I will talk about more of the information I brought in.